marvel at the serenity of the forest and crave the shroud of its silence. Hello and welcome to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing a game that's just out today called Roadwarden. And what this is, it's a bit like a visual novel, choose your own adventure type thing, but it does have fighting. It is a bit of a role-playing game as well. It's got pretty cool pixel art. Everything's in this sort of very sepia tones, quite atmospheric. And imagine if it's a bit like being a Witcher, if instead of like a genetically altered mutant with almost superpowers, you're just some ordinary dude. But you're still trying to keep roads safe, you're still fighting monsters, you're still trying to help out communities and stuff. There's a lot of text in it. I'm gonna read it as it comes. It's not voiced, so hopefully people watching this are into that. And it's I've played the first hour in the demo. It's kind of starts off quite chill, but I get the feeling that there's going to be a lot of sort of nasty things happening to us before too long. Have a quick look at the settings. I'm just going to bring the music volume down a bit there. And we're going to start a new game. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept the struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and, if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. So we've got a choice here. We could happily leave the safety of the city walls, or I still have my doubts. That might end the game for all I know, so we're going to leave the safety of the city walls. Difficulty mode. This choice can't be altered. I think I'm going to stick with standard. So there is a time limit in this game. It's 40 days. You have a sort of peninsula that you have to explore and make safe. I think you have you're working for like a merchant faction back in the city, and you're trying to set up some trade routes. But you've got 40 days in game to do this. If you play restrictive, it's actually a 30-day. If you play on casual, you actually don't have a time limit. So for those who don't like to be rushed along, then that's definitely the mode to play on. For me, I think probably having a self-enforced time limit will sort of help shape the Let's Play series that I'm filming. So I'm going to go for that. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You are supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labour. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not beast folk nor trolls, and the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It had a long day. So we've got a choice here. We could look for another shelter. We could look around carefully. We could dismount and sneak to the gate, or get off the horse and enter the camp briskly. Well, I mean, I have played the demo, so, so I kind of know what's inside. So I'm just going to get off the horse and we're going to enter briskly. This is introducing our health element here on the right. It says, take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in combat. So we have 3 out of 4 vitality at the moment, and up here we have the time of day. It's 30 minutes before dusk. And things get kind of crazy at night, I think, so you want to be in shelter by night time. I approach the gate, ready to walk in. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. I'm not sure what this means, but plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. 2 people, and although it's highlighted, I can't click on it or do anything when I hover over it, are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them's holding a cup. I walk towards them. It takes them a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes. His beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. I take a look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambazon, but hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are weary, yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these two surely look the part, though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. Let them speak first.
It's nice to see an unharmed traveller in this godforsaken shithole. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful.
The bearded man's voice is strong, yet timid. Maybe that came across that, I'm not sure.
You'll be staying the night with us, I guess.
We're soldiers, he and I, adds the armoured woman. Her moment switches from half asleep to relaxed. Her moment, okay. We'll do our best to keep the camp safe, but if you were to take the first watch, it would be a huge help. Travellers ought to help each other, wouldn't you say? You think for a moment. To fully rest, you'd need a good sleep. Yeah. I think we will. We'll help them with the watch. Fantastic. She rubs her hands together. I don't remember the last time I had more than half a night of sleep. The hours before midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us up if anything happens. The man flashes you a wide smile.
It's easy to wake us up. Just yell.
He drinks from his mug. I ask them about their lieutenant. So, whenever you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of the attitudes. And we have friendly. Be supportive and cordial. Playful. Use a joke or witty comment. Distanced. Hide your emotions. Intimidating. Hint at a threat. Or vulnerable. Be sad, tired, afraid, or hopeless. So there's kind of... it doesn't necessarily anything we have to stick to rigidly, but it does sort of paint the way our character's going to be, how we respond. And I think probably we're going to be friendly, at least in this initial encounter. I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Could we talk for a bit? The woman lets out a loud sigh. There's a few typos I've noticed. Hopefully that might be something they update. Dusts off her gambazon and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can, you and I, though holding this rank is still somewhat new to me. Are you the messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observes you with curiosity. Or are you looking for help? I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside.
Really?
The soldier in the shirt leans forward.
That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself.
Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. So we could shake her hand and introduce ourselves, or it may be a trap. I gesture for her to stop pretending to be embarrassed, so I don't think we need to be cagey. I'm just going to shake her hand. How do we want people to call us? Well, as is tradition on this channel, I think we're going to be Sir Boring. Already given ourselves a title. Her grasp is confident. The shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung.
Now, there's one issue.
The soldier in the shirt also rises to her feet.
We've got no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something.
Again, a choice of response. I think, I don't know what our background is at the moment, but we probably should get used to sleeping on the ground. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle with a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquests in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. So we can be friendly to our horse, or we can be not friendly to our horse. I'm going to be friendly to our horse. It takes a few steps towards you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck with strength and confidence, just the way it likes. Humans see useful animals and even pets as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom, but you know that horses need companionship. I speak to it gently and lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple of moments to examine its back, just in case. While the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, with enough time it starts to chafe. You wish it had something better to eat than this shabby grass. You should look for an inn. I need to unpack. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left. But maybe the soldiers could share one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. So yeah, so people in this universe seem to use dragon bones as currency, which is interesting. Suggests dragons are quite plentiful. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions essential for your trade. So here we get to pick what our class is. Are we a fighter? Which gives us a gambazon, an axe, and a crossbow. Are we a mage? I have talismans to help me use my powers, as well as an iron axe and a warm gambazon. Or a scholar. I carry writing instruments and alchemical ingredients, as well as an iron axe, a warm gambazon, and a healing potion. What do we want to be? In the demo I picked fighter. I didn't get to the stage of actually having combat yet, but I might go for mage. Actually, having magical powers might be interesting. So open our inventory to see our possessions. Here on the the right of the screen, we've got our inventory. See, we've got food rations, merchandise. This is our money. So this is 5. I suppose that's a dragon bone. Here we go. The city artisans make coins by cutting dragon bones into slices. They're valued by merchants. They're rarely used in the countryside. Got our gambazon. We've got magical amulets. Magic is unreliable. Oh, great. So you spend a sack of coins to collect a couple of enhancing amulets. Oh, they help you focus your pneuma in ways you don't quite understand. Travel set, all sorts of bits and bobs, and an iron axe. Do I press escape? Yes. Taking hits will damage your armor. Our armor is 2 out of 4. We can fix it in various settlements. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced. The same clothes are still here. Just in case, you take a look at your wooden bowl and mug, your cape, tinderbox, bandages, food rations, knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. I return to the soldiers. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. Okay, so we can join them and look at the meal. We can thank them for the meal, but don't eat with them. We just sit down and ask about the area, or we ignore the meal. Well, we're not going to ignore the meal. We're hungry, so we're going to eat the meal. Here we go. Keeping your stomach full will make you stronger. Starvation won't allow you to restore vitality when resting. So we currently have 2 out of 4 nourishment. It's cold gruel, the meal eaten in times of hardship. This specific bowl is filled with water, hog millet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to another, making sacrifices to protect their group as they face dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learned how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help the settlement stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, forge friendships. Where there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgment. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. I eat quickly, not focusing on the taste, and then speak with Julia. She's focused and chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods towards the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, and 1 has run away in tears.
We're also strangers in this land,
adds her companion. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leans forwards, his legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought.
Well, what did the officials tell you? No, I expect not that much. No soul governs these lands.
I share what I consider to be relevant. I don't think we need to keep secrets from them. You tell the soldiers how little guidance you've received. Since this area is too far away from Hovlavan to keep it under control, you were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunities. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses or find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for your guidance. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? Well, what should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I guess it would be 3-4 days? When you confirm, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Hovlevan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages. Collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast, such as this one, is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on.
No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travelled to the roadside inn, Pelt of the North, they're happy to trade and to play dice.
Why not just stay at one of the settlements? The man clears his throat.
I mean, you know, we're here to guard this road, this camp is our post, and well...
He turns towards Julia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Sir Boring, but are you a devout soul? So we can kind of pick our level of faith here, which ties into our background a little bit. The United Church, from what little I played, I could gather it's kind of the overriding official religion of the land. Order of Truth, it says it's more like a sort of monastery type thing, maybe more of a knowledge over religion type stuff. We have a fellowship type background. For me, the freedom of shell, pneuma, which ties into our magic, and soul are the main virtues of life. My community is unique and independent, so it's members. So if the fellowship is more of a guild type background, you could be a pagan, or just say no. So, magical research does suggest the Order of Truth, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, let's go that. Oh, I see. She hesitantly looks away. I don't know much about that river of faith, but I'm sure we're not that different. I'm a Unite myself. She says with a sort of pride in her voice. So, she follows the United Church. The people here are disquieting. Every few words she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials. Here. She starts to draw lines with her index finger as if she's pointing at an invisible map. The peninsula is interconnected with roads like a big circle. In the northwest you'll find a weird village at a bog. It's not exactly pagan. I don't think so. It even has a priest who claims to be an eremite. You nod. She means a fellowship.
They do crazy shit. Her companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there.
I see. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic, pagan traditions muddy their river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to mankind. Were you able to speak with the necromancers? You can see why we were not eager to go there if we could avoid it, the lieutenant chuckles. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to a Roadwarden. The roads are dangerous with little to no shelters. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest.
If you're heading to the undead village, you'll get to an inn first and soon.
Again, northwest being indicated to us there. Julia nods. Pelt of the North is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeep or the guards and ask them about the road. And what about the east? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell. We went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel, sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. Any monster worth mentioning?
Yeah, we saw all kinds of beasts.
The man started to count on his fingers.
Goblins, treants, cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mouflon eaters, griffins, but we managed to stay away.
Some could catch up with most mounts. Julia glances at her companion, though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting amongst themselves. They fight more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles.
Don't provoke them and ride fast. Just count on luck.
That's all I need to know. She nods. I'm afraid we can't do more for you. We can talk about the previous Roadwarden. Julia takes a deep breath. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him in almost half a year. The soldiers speak for a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife without looking at you.
No, I don't remember his voice. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his.
Yes, and leave at dawn. Unlike us, Astarion never gets bored. Julia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead or not.
If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone's keeping him in a basement.
The man calves with a passion.
We ain't seen him or his Saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return.
Richer Roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating Saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from many monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message? Neither one of us had any insight into his dealings, says Julia. My predecessor left me no clues. We also took a look at Asterion's stuff. Oh, wait! She raises her open palm. I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids in a village near Hovlevan. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure. She glances at you. But I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. So you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts off the hilt of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We are meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us. Tell us what you've learned about the man and we'll get back to Hovlevan together. You think about your real mission. You were planning to return to Hovlevan in the early fall anyway. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking away his possessions. Telling us about our journal there. A quick click on that. Find the Roadwarden. Before I became the Roadwarden of this peninsula, a man named Asterion used to patrol these roads. If I manage to find out what happened to him and bring the news to Julia from the southern camp, I'll receive his abandoned belongings there. Okay. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'll spare you anything. And who knows, you may just find his shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears a mail, uses a spear mostly. Maybe 5 feet tall, but stout. Long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but after he adds nothing, she sits down and stretches out her legs. So just find out what happened to him. Dead, alive, left, just let me know. Try and get a spare rope off them. You're in luck. She heads towards one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, revealing a rope. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down on her chair. Take it, I was planning to leave it behind. I take a closer look. A fine rope. A regular rope made of hemp fibres, and we can buy it for 0 coins. What happened to your squad? The man shrugs.
Bandits happened, and monsters.
A strong band, though, his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. The bearded soldier scoffs and crosses his arm, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we would all have died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers. Stay there at night, lose everything you have. Sounds like slave hunters. Julia sighs. Very much so. They killed some and took others away, who knows where. They were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath.
Kind of worked, adds the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died.
Oh, don't exaggerate. It's not like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp, but we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road, saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well. Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a treant. Another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of ritual hunt, so a werebear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us they had cut his hand while cleaning his gambazon. She let out a ghastly chuckle. We had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north, find a new life, and disappear. Idiot. What a colourful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You've made this place safer. Barely. Julia seems tired, and who knows if it was worth the lives and effort. I mean, the rest of this stuff I can quickly explain without sort of staying in this camp too much longer. She became a lieutenant just by being the most senior one left alive. The squad's mission is just to try and keep the area safe. Nothing really unusual about the camp to know. They tell me to go to the inn to the northwest, which we're going to do next. So I'm just going to say everything I know everything I need.
Are you sure? Said the bearded man. We may not be around the next time you come here.
We should prepare for the night anyway. I agree. Julia sighs with relief. And you may do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant. She winks at you, shattering the mask of a soldier. Thanks for your help. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face. What makes you even more aware... Yeah, there's a slightly different grammar here. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it will only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. I prepare for my watch. The soldier in the shirt is eager to guide you.
Just observe the area. There's plenty of griffins around, though they won't try to jump over the palisade. Better watch out for the apes. They climb up and carry out any food they can. And there's this one really loud were-elk that keeps smelling the wall. No, it's never tried to get in.
He points at a gate.
The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here looking for shelter, better call us to help you out. And if this someone is being chased by wolves or anything, better throw them the rope instead.
He scratches his head.
If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire, and the best place is on the watchtower. You may want to pull a blanket up there or something.
The watchtower? He gives you a long, puzzled look.
Oh, here!
He points at the pile of crates.
Just climb up to the tallest one. You'll have a great view at the northern side, the more dangerous side. And also, I know you're tired after all that riding.
He points at the tent on the other side of the camp.
I can handle a couple of hours sleeping on the ground. If you wish, go there after me and rest, just this once. At least I have a pallet inside.
I smile. Thanks a lot. So, you put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm, the sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time your back aches. You force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point, the three-horned deers trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a two-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight nor to admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. I keep looking around. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a grey hare. A group of muskoxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's a much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the world outside from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. I focus on the real goal of my journey. So this is really why we're here. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula. Learn about the territory, resources and threats. Get to know the locals, and, if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Hovleven officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? Oh, at least I have time. 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tulia and return to Hovleven. There you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. So this is kind of our greater target, I suppose. I need to gather some coins to help someone I care about. I need to do that so I can retire early and live in prosperity and safety. I can become a major player in a merchant guild. Be remembered as a hero. Maybe just help people. I need to find a new life for myself. I have a difficult past and I want it to be forgotten. Yeah, I'm tempted by that one, actually. Magic user, bit of a mysterious past. That sounds like fun. You can't travel during the night. Press the sleep button to rest. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, though the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. And we're going to sleep. Sleeping in a tent. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. So we can sleep. We won't lose any health. We will lose some... What is that? I have no idea. That's probably our magic ability, is it? Because I didn't have this on the fighter character. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what that is. So we lose a little bit of our magical ability there. We lose a little bit of our nourishment. And a little bit of our... cleanliness, I think that is. You get dirtier while we sleep. Okay. You take a look at your amulets. For most people they would be nothing more than trash, but you wouldn't sell them for a pouch of dragon bones. You use them to shape pneuma to your will. With these little mementos, the few spells you're familiar with are far more reliable. Who knows, maybe there's already some power held in them. You look at the old, though clean bandages that remember dozens of herbal balms and wounds. You can put them on your hurting muscles, bruises and scratches, then hum an old song about time, which either heals all wounds or kills us too soon to let us bother with our problems. After a few hours or so, the linen will warm up, confirming it did its job. The tent may not be much, but your spell would make you feel as good as new, though you'd lose some of your energy. So let's take a look. So yeah, this is pneuma. We have 3, it would cost us 2. I think we lose 1 anyway just by resting. Appearance, yeah, 2 out of 5. So this is to heal us up to max, I would think. It's going to cost us 2 of our spell. We have 3 out of 4. I think that's not too bad. I think I'm just going to not do that. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Oh, actually, it's recharged all our pneuma there. It was the opposite. You recharge it when you sleep. That's good. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell like a roast. No, burning meat. Burning, rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. I go outside to see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Tulia is the first one to address you. So boring? She greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or a female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveller or an undead? The latter. A young one, she lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens, Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Julia calls this undead a she. Most unites hesitate to do so. Time for me to leave. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell mocked in a number of songs and tales, but yet you hear no scorn in Julia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. I prepare myself for the journey. Use the travel button to see the map and move to another area, which we're going to do momentarily. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double-check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gambers on and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt, and then get in the saddle. The palfrey knickers ready to leave. It's time for you to get to the crossroads, north from here. So we say goodbye to the camp, and we travel. So here's our map. This is all blank, because we need to map it out. So it's explaining. Travel forward to continue your journey. Once you're done with the north, speak to Julia and return to Hovlevan. So we're going to click on that. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travellers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat and colours, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling and chasing each other around, blocking your path. So, you can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travellers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually, the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just check for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Julia. You've got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. If you have enough pneuma, you can cast spells to access unique interactions. Okay. So, I have two choices here, which involve random chance. I could take my axe and hurry the horse, or I should stay here. But, as I'm a mage, I have access to this one, which is to use a spell. So, I'm going to do that. I grab an amulet and shape a missile of light. A harmless flare will frighten them off. That's cost 1 pneuma. We have 5. That seems like a good use of it. Quickly to mention here, you can learn more about your abilities in the character sheet, so let's click on that. Here we go. It's probably just alerting us to the fact we've got spells. Healing ritual when we go to sleep. That's pretty nice. You grab one of your oldest amulets, a pendant made of leather and a single dim pearl. The little sphere is covered by cryptic engravings, but if there's any special meaning behind them, you were never able to find out what it could be. Holding the pearl between your fingers, you feel the pleasant, familiar warmth. The spell you're about to cast is not much more than a mere illusion, but you take a couple of breaths trying to minimize any risk of failure. The pneuma leaves your shell formed into a white ball that you barely comprehend. When it falls next to the griffins, for a couple of blinks it emits dazzling light. The animals squeak and snarl, fleeing in multiple directions at once. The road is now clear. I ride forward and enjoy the touch of my pendant. It cools down slowly. We've got a crossroads. Keep track of our achievements. Just says the new adventure there. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure. Do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make the situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write, for folks who can't read. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, as people say. Danger to be found. There's not a soul around to ask for guidance. I look at my horse. What's my horse's name? Well, In honour of the fact this is like The Witcher, we're going to call our horse Roach. Roach is peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you've spent many years together. Happy to go on, it takes a couple of steps forward. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. So, which way are we going to go? Into the deadly east, or towards the inn to the west? We're going to go to the inn. Roach trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone is going to protect you from many dangers. You spot a stone tower taller than the trees. It must be the inn I've heard about. So, here we are at the inn. And I think at this point we're going to leave it there. So this is just the very, very early start of Roadwarden. In the next episode we're going to go to the inn, then we get to go to a ruined town and speak to a strange character. So it's going to get pretty interesting, and I hope you'll enjoy watching the episodes to come. And if you enjoyed this one, then please do hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. That would be fantastic. Yeah, and in the meantime, I hope to see you again for the next instalment of Roadwarden. Bye for now.